instructions how to get away with murder. You get instructions how to get away with murder. You get instructions how to get away with murder. Welcome to Ponzi Gaming, where we give you instructions. Welcome to Ponzi Gaming, where we go over games that have fallen under the radar. And in this case, we're going to talk about Hitman Absolutionism. One of my favorite games from the franchise that doesn't get talked about a lot anymore. It's kind of been buried by the recent Hitman game. And before we go any deeper into that, now this is a little bit of a longer video, so I'm glad that you clicked on seeing how long the video is. I could not do this game justice unless I went into just absolute detail with it. So do me a favor, watch as long as you can. The game actually has a really good ending, and we're going to talk about it towards the end of the video. And also, there are a few things I need you to do here. There's a bell, I need you to punch that with your fist. There's a like button, I need you to punch that with your fist. There's a subscribe button, I need you to punch that with your fist. Then there's a share button, and I need you to just gobble that up in your mouth for me. And just regurgitate it literally everywhere. Who the heck talks like that? Nobody talks like that. Hitman Absolution is like the forgotten middle child of the Hitman collection, which is a shame because it's one of the best games in the franchise. This is just one of those games that as soon as your hands hold the controller, you just want more. More? The critical thinking to complete objectives, the creativity to make each mission your own personal style, the in-depth plot and story development, the refreshed game mechanics, and the buttery smooth controls.
What do you mean, butter?
While some of the earlier games were fantastic, all of them really, they could be a tad clunky at times in their control schemes. Absolution cleaned up a lot of the clunkiness that the older trilogy presented and polished up with a fantastic set of graphics and game mechanics. If you're playing on PC, my god, it still holds up today. For those of you that have never heard of Hitman Absolution,
do you live in a cave?
This is the 5th main series title in the Hitman franchise, and it was Square Enix's attempt to reboot the franchise and dig back into the original story while giving Agent 47 more character development. Now, I do want to preface, when I say the original trilogy, this includes Hitman 2, Hitman Contracts, and Hitman Blood Money. The first game in the series was a PC exclusive, so the game hadn't really gotten its wings. It's generally accepted now that the trilogy starts with 2 and moves on from there. It's like when somebody says, hey, let's watch the Star Wars trilogy. You're not going to be like, yeah, let's get me some Phantom Menace! That being said, if you do have a PC, the first game is normally on sale for next to nothing. It doesn't hold up as well as the others, but it's probably worth looking into. Hitman Absolution originally launched in November of 2012. It's going on 8 years old this year. For those of you that have never played a game in the Hitman series, let me cover the premise of the game. Before we get into the game mechanics, however, we need to make sense of who we actually play as in this game. Now bear with me, we are going to hit some deep detail, but I promise it is worth it to stick around until the end. No spoilers yet though, don't worry. You know I'll give my lovelies a warning. That's like the creepiest thing I've ever said in a video. You play as Agent 47, a genetically enhanced superhuman whose DNA was created through secret research into gene augmentation with one goal in mind: create the perfect assassin with enhanced instincts and abilities, unfeeling and willing to follow orders unquestionably. Lack of all morality. 47 is a clone created by Dr. Ortmeyer, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. As his name suggests, he was the 47th clone created. Ortmeyer had also believed that he was the most complete clone out of each one created. Now, Absolution doesn't go into much, if in any, detail about any of this, so we've just got to lay out the frosting on the cake here to give us a baseline for who exactly this man is and what makes him so special.
I want that cake!
Eventually, Agent 47 decided to escape from what you could say was the mad scientist, and when he was free, joined the ICA. ICA stands for International Contract Agency, and they assign hitman contracts to professionals willing to get the job done clean and unnoticed. When joining the ICA, he was assigned a handler, Diana Burnwood. She was the one that assigned his contracts and wired the agency's payments that they had received from their clients to 47. Through many years, Agent 47 felt as though it was a necessity to be the trained killer that he was created to be. Throughout the older games of the franchise, he tried many times to give up the hitman lifestyle, growing ties to the Catholic Church in order to find inner peace and to feel human. And it goes without saying, he was unfortunately never able to achieve that dream. Now we can start to fast forward a little bit to the plot of Hitman Absolution. But first, let's actually talk about how you play this game. Your goal as an assassin is to kill your targets, go unnoticed, and obtain the silent assassin rating in-game. Now this game isn't as simple as A kills B, then A kills C. No.
No.
It's much deeper than that. If you want to kill your target, there are many ways that the game presents to do so. Multiple ways to make the death either look like an accident. Some levels you could snipe your target, you could just plain out shoot them, you can strangle them, have other people possibly kill them by mistake. You have a lot of creative freedom as to how you actually go about completing your objectives. This in mind, of course, you don't want to get caught. That's the biggest thing here. You need to be the knight.
I am the knight.
Invisible to those around you. Now obviously 47 can't just go around entering secure buildings on lockdown, but you can secretly kill or subdue the people around you and change into their clothes.
I'm going to be a master of disguise. I'm going to be a master of disguise.
It will fool anyone who isn't in the same uniform, but others who are a part of that squad or wear that same uniform will see through that disguise if you get too close to them. Absolution introduced an instinct bar, which you can utilize to sneak past some enemies undetected. But once it runs out, you had better hope that you were past the ones you were trying to fool, or you're gonna get shot pretty quick.
Shoot me!
Now, Absolution also introduced a really cool contracts feature alongside the story. What this contracts feature allowed players to do was to load any level that you wanted to, kill any person by any means that you wanted with like a knife, a brick, or a sledgehammer, you know, take your pick. And then you could post that level online, the way that you killed that person, with the rating that you got, and other players could play that mission the same way that you did and have to achieve the same goal and outcome. It was a way for players to challenge other players in the community. However, when I tried to load it up, the servers would not let me on. So it is my assumption that the servers have been shut down or my computer is trash. Either one of those is a very strong possibility. But if they are shut down, it is very sad because it was a great feature that gave the game awesome replayability. Well, there's that, and then there's the many different difficulties that you can try to beat the main story in. There are also multiple challenges as well in each level of the game. For example, suit only, killing every guard in certain missions, etc. They also give you special unlocks that help increase 47's natural abilities, like maybe better accuracy with a specific weapon, for example, or more instinct rewarded for completing objectives or assassinating somebody. Now, the time has come to divulge into the story, so let's roll into the next segment of this video.
It occurs to me that maybe I shouldn't be so excited about murder.
One day, I will think of this as just another job.
In between Hitman Blood Money and Hitman Absolution, Diana Burnswick was having disagreements with her current superior in the agency and decided to go rogue. The agency also had a special girl cloned in the same way that 47 was named Victoria. Victoria is the focal point of this game, with multiple parties trying their hand at taking her, including the agency. Now, when Diana left the agency, she took Victoria in a disagreement about how Victoria was created. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to it than that, but we will get to it. Just be patient. Because of how much Diana knew, along with the kidnapping of Victoria, the agency decided to give Agent 47 the contract to hunt her down and kill her. Then, after killing her, he was tasked with extracting Victoria. Now, upon making his way through the heavily guarded complex,
You sure? It's not prostate cancer. I could kiss you. I mean, that's great news. Oh, man. You made my day. Yeah, thanks, Doc. Yeah. I thought I was a goner. Yeah. Doc, I gotta run. Duty calls. And thank you so much.
47 confronts Diana and then shoots her, and while she's bleeding out, she gives 47 a letter that states what she had found out about the agency and about Victoria. Now, if you recall what I had stated earlier, 47 has always had an inward battle for his own humanity. Even though he was assigned this contract, it was taking its toll on him. Finally, after talking with Diana after shooting her, he snapped and decided to go rogue himself, thus saving Victoria. In his humanity, 47 could not tolerate the way that the agency was treating Victoria. Between the constant testing by the doctors, the torture, and the combat training, he just couldn't allow her to become like him. After escaping with Victoria and going AWOL, 47 can only think of one place that he feels safe, the Catholic Church, and in this case specifically, the Rosewood Orphanage. It's the only place that the agency didn't have ties to, or knew that 47 had ties to for that matter. Agent 47 leaves Victoria in the care of Sister Mary, whom I believe is the head nun of the orphanage, and with a heart of gold. She agrees to watch over Victoria for free, of course, even though 47 did offer to pay her. Ugh, just so wholesome.
Give these trees names and stuff. Make them your friends.
After leaving Victoria at the orphanage, 47 then reaches out to Birdie. Birdie is a former ICA operative who specializes in obtaining information that is not easily obtained by your average human being. Agent 47 asks Birdie to look around and find information on the ICA, as well as anyone else that might be interested in Victoria. In exchange, Birdie asks 47 to kill the crime lord calling himself the King of Chinatown, and then also takes 47's legendary silver baller pistols as payment. Now 47, grasping with his humanity at this point, has a very emotional scene where he takes a barber's knife and cuts the barcode on the back of his neck, essentially stating that he's cutting ties with the agency and that he's going rogue and that he wants to be a human being. Once 47 assassinates the King of Chinatown, Birdie finally reaches out to 47 with some information. Here, listen to this scene.
Hey, listen!
Terminus Hotel, room 899.
So I asked my birds the question, Holmes, and the answer came back in the shape of a name. Blake Dexter. An arms industry VIP who seems to have taken a special interest in your girl.
47 then makes his way to the Terminus Hotel. After traversing the Terminus Hotel, sneaking in, getting around the guards, etc., 47 finds Blake Dexter and his bodyguard. He then tries to strangle his bodyguard when he's alone, fails miserably. Come on, 47, you're better than this. And then Blake Dexter walks into the room. When realizing that 47 is the legendary hitman, he kills a maid and frames 47 for it. Not only that, he sets the hotel on fire. When 47 comes to, he realizes the situation that he's in. Somehow, through dodging helicopter fire and getting through all the police unnoticed, he manages to escape via train.
I'm sending in more trains.
After escaping the police, Birdie reaches out to 47. He informs him that Dexter has an informant in Chicago, a strip club owner named Dominic Osmond, who is feeding Dexter information about Victoria. One thing to keep in mind, Dexter has no association with the agency. From what I've gathered, he's just a crime lord. 47 then makes his way to the strip club, assassinates Osmond, and then finds a taped phone call in his office.
Good God, they cuss a lot in this game. I gotta censor so many things. Y'all need to see Sister Mary and get right with God.
Agent 47 plays the message back to discover that Dexter had hired a group of mercenaries led by Edward Wade. Seriously, the scum of the earth sort of guy.
I hate that guy.
They were hired in order to find and kidnap Birdie to extract the whereabouts of Victoria from him. After learning this new information, 47 makes his way back to Chinatown to assassinate the thugs that are coming after Birdie, then to take Birdie to safety. Although 47 does succeed in killing them all, he was too late. Wade himself had captured Birdie, and then Birdie gave the whereabouts of Victoria to him in order to have his life spared.
Bird person, no!
47, not knowing whether Birdie betrayed him or not, headed to the orphanage that he left Victoria at. He arrives to the orphanage wearing his priest's uniform, and then somehow heads off the men that have come for Victoria. He then grabs Victoria and tries to get her to the safety of the basement. However, the armed thugs that have come to kidnap her cut the power to the building, so the elevator was stuck. 47 leaves Victoria behind to go and restore the power. Before, however, he could get into the basement, Wade was able to capture Victoria. Sister Mary tried to prevent the abduction, but there was another man there, Lenny. Now, Lenny is actually a little bit of a use of symbolism here. Have you guys ever read Of Mice and Men? If you know a thing or two about Lenny and his character, it will make more sense. I'm not going to go in detail into regards to that book here, but you can look it up if you don't. Also, he kind of looks and acts like Doofy from Scary Movie 2.
Shut up, Wade!
Special Officer Doofy.
Lenny, after being bullied by Wade, accidentally shoots Sister Mary.
Dang it, Lenny, how are they supposed to get right with God now?
Agent 47 then hunts down Wade and fatally wounds him. While Wade is on the ground, Lenny ends up kidnapping Victoria and runs off. After Wade finally kicks the bucket ever so satisfyingly, 47 discovers a matchbox on his person that says Hope, South Dakota. Needless to say, he had a trip to make.
Barbershop! Every day, 12 noon, sharp!
Agent 47 must have played a lot of RPGs in his day because he knows where to go to get information. The local tavern. It's actually a bar, but just let me be flavorful, okay? Upon sneaking his way up to the bar to interrogate the bartender, he learns the location of Lenny. After learning that location, Birdie calls him immediately, telling him the location of his one-of-a-kind silver ballers that were taken as payment by Birdie. They were sold to a local gun dealer in the area via Birdie. 47 then makes his way there to pick them up. He then chats with the man running the establishment, and the man offers to sell them to 47 if he can beat the target practice record. You could always just steal them, but I did opt to do the shooting record just for the sake of the video, and because I believe it's technically the canon way to do it.
I'll keelhaul you for this!
But who knows, 47 is crafty. Maybe it's not the way to do it. After retrieving the silver ballers, 47 makes his way to Lenny and his crew. Now, their game plan was to kidnap Victoria from Dexter, whom they gave her up to once Lenny took her, and then sell her to a rival arms dealer to bring in some...
Don't rape me!
Agent 47 takes out the crew and subdues Lenny.
You're not the talkative type, huh? You know your place. Well, I like that in the barber.
He takes Lenny to a desert and begins having him dig his own grave while pressuring him for information regarding Victoria's location. Say that 10 times fast. Lenny points the way of Dexter's factory, where he had left her with Sanchez, Dexter's bodyguard, where she's being researched by Dexter's scientists. When it rains, it pours. After receiving this information, we have a few options. We can let Lenny live, we can shoot Lenny, or we can shoot some eagles in the sky. Why, you might ask? Well, I don't know about you, but if I were spending all that time digging in the desert, I think I could fancy some ice cream.
What you say?
Agent 47 takes a trip out to Dexter's factory. Once he sneaks his way inside, he assassinates all of the scientists that were doing research on Victoria, and then destroys all of their research. Again, this is to prevent Dexter or anyone else's attempts at making the super clones and superhumans. He then finds Sanchez in an underground fighting ring and learns that Victoria was taken to Hope's Sheriff's Courthouse. Oh, he also finally kills the beast as well. I guess you could say that Hitman is beauty. Agent 47 decides he needs to take some time to recuperate and gets himself a hotel at the Waikiki Inn. However, the ICA learns of 47's location from Birdie, and Travis, the current person in charge of the 47 investigation, as well as Diana's former superior, sends in the Saints.
No music?
The Saints are a highly trained group of elite female killers who happen to be nuns. Pretty good symbolism there of 47's faith being used against him. God, this game is fantastic. The Saints blow up the hotel and start killing every survivor using their soldiers that they refer to as the cleanup crew. 47, however, escapes the carnage and is able to save a couple of the civilians as well. Granted, it's not easy, but somehow I did it after 1,000 tries. Agent 47 then stealthily kills every nun, which is every member of the Saints. Travis calls the leader of the Saints after 47 had done the deed, but 47 answers the phone.
Saint, status report. Saint, do you copy status report?
Mission failed. 47.
You fool!
After the phone call with Travis and dealing with the nuns, 47 makes his way back to Hope to find Victoria in the underground jail that is below the Hope courthouse. Once he makes his way underground and finally finds the room in which he believes Victoria was being kept, Sheriff Shirky electrocutes 47 and he goes out like a light. Ironic because he was just electrocuted. While 47 is unconscious and tied to a chair, Dexter ends up showing up and wakes 47 up to ask him where Lenny is. Lenny, mind you, is his son. Not sure why they didn't go into more detail with that, but we kind of figure it out here if you hadn't pieced it together earlier. Now let's just see 47's response here.
Weak as a little kitten.
After Dexter leaves, Shirky then runs off for a little bit, giving 47 enough time to make an escape. After 47 escapes the jailhouse, the ICA shows up to take over the city and find him. The ICA informs Shirky that they are taking over and fire a warning shot into his thigh so he doesn't get further involved. 47 then makes his escape past all of the ICA agents that are there to capture him and finds Shirky in a nearby church. 47 corners him there and mortally wounds him. Then he forces Shirky to tell him where Dexter is going with Victoria. Turns out, the man is on his way to Blackwater Park in Chicago. Travis and Dexter meet in Chicago to attempt a handoff for Victoria. Dexter gets 10 million, the agency gets the girl. Win-win, right? Dexter pretends to then kill Victoria, but it's not actually her. He then gets handed the money and walks off, promising to have Victoria shipped to the agency. Dumbest thing Travis has ever done, other than betraying 47. Let's just maybe call it the second dumbest.
Toss some salt over your right shoulder.
Agent 47 then infiltrates Blackwater Park and makes his way up to Dexter and Layla, who is his significant other. On his way up the elevator, 47 boldly shoots out the camera to alert them of his arrival. Unfortunate for the sushi guy, though, his boss really worked him to death. Too soon? Layla convinces Dexter that she will kill off 47, even though to my knowledge she has never had any sort of success because Dexter hires everyone else, so I'm not quite sure about this part, but plot after all.
She dies.
And then 47 makes his way to the roof of the building, where he finds Dexter holding a gun with Victoria. 47 cleverly kills him without being noticed and escapes, thus finally fulfilling Diana's wish of keeping Victoria safe. But the story isn't over. Months later, Travis exhausts the ICA's resources to dig up the Burnwood family gravesite and to dig up Diana's body to confirm whether 47 actually had killed her or not. Agent 47 shows up on the day that Travis and some of the members of the ICA arrive with one mission in mind: kill Travis. 47 then kills all of Travis's top men, his right-hand assistant, and makes his way to him. After being hit with the explosion that destroyed the doors Travis was barricaded in by, he asks 47 one question.
Just tell me, did you kill her? Diana. Is she really dead?
You will never know.
Then you see Victoria reunited with Diana at the end of the game, and Victoria gives up her superhuman abilities that were kept in her necklace to live a normal human life. After eliminating Travis, Diana and 47 then are eligible to re-enter the ICA because the ICA saw Travis as a traitor. So Diana ends up being his handler once again.
Travis had also created Victoria against the agency's knowledge and utilized the agency's resources to make it happen. So you can see why the ICA labeled him as a traitor.
Now here's the continuation that we will never know. Cosmo Faulkner of the Chicago Police Department had been tracking Agent 47 since the fire in the Terminus Hotel at the start of the game. About to give up on his search, Birdie shows up and offers to help out the detective. And that's it. Set up for a sequel, and we never got it. How's that feel? Hurts, doesn't it?
Yes, I'm clean shaven now. I got a conference I'm going to, so I shaved it off. Thank you for watching and sticking through to the end. I really appreciate you guys. Bell, subscribe, like, share, please. It helps out so much. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
What's left of me? What's left of me now?